Mike delivers from his wife's, cat's, his own living room. Here's your host, Mike Biseglia.
That's right. This is Mike Delivers, episode 100. That's cool. And I'm your host, Mike Biseglia, and I'm coming to you from my wife's kitchen outside of the living room that's connected to the dining room that's below the bedrooms in Bloomfield, New Jersey. Jess, we have air. That is a great feeling. We lost our power for 3 days. We'll talk about the bullshit on episode 100. Don't forget, you can find Mike Delivers podcast where all major podcasts are found. If you've got a Droid, you can find it on Stitcher and Spotify and all that good shit. And of course, on Apple Podcasts. Please give a 5-star rating. If you've already given one, don't do it again. But tell somebody you know to do it, and that will be greatly appreciated. Shout out to the O'Brien Creative Group. They're the guys that created my amazing-looking Mike Delivers logo. More information on them, head over to my show notes, o'briencreativegroup.com. If you need help with your own logo, website design, these guys do it all. I highly recommend them. Please check them out at the o'briencreativegroup.com. You've heard about the Mike Delivers Patreon page, bonus content. Basically, it's an extension of what we do here. So if you want to hear more crazy stories from the road, bonus food reviews, Jess and our lives, Jess and my life. What's the proper way to do that? Jess and you. Grammar isn't a strength, which is a problem when you have a podcast. But I fight through it.
So I'm a scientist. I don't need to use it.
And then also, one of the great parts of the Mike Delivers bonus on Patreon, and this has become a fan favorite, is where my wife puts pantyhose on me. She blindfolds me. She doesn't blinds me. And I have to guess the food that she shoves in my mouth. And it's been fun, too, because if you're on Patreon, you can recommend the foods to shove in my mouth. And then it's $4 a month if you want to just support the Mike Delivers podcast. I've got a son coming in a couple weeks, so, I'm giving you... That's really pathetic on my part. I know, but I did it. So, there you have it. Jess, a couple of things. One, we didn't have heat. That's not true. We didn't have air condition or electricity.
We didn't have heat either.
We didn't have... I guess, technically. We didn't have electricity. We did not have air conditioned. And it was miserable the last 3 days. This is episode 100, which is really crazy to say out loud. So we will do a retrospective on basically all of these food reviews that we've done now that we're at 100. And then we'll get to breakfast month. I'm struggling today. It's like I'm like right there. Does that make sense? It's like I've got 80% and then I just can't finish it home. I'm like the Mets. We get to the 9th and then I fucking blow the whole thing. It's breakfast month, not week. And this week for the breakfast month, we tried the Baconator breakfast, and we also had the vanilla frosty gimmick drink.
Frosticino.
That thing was fucking delicious. The Baconator can... S a D. We'll get to that in a moment. But Jess, how the fuck are you? I gotta stop talking. I've been rambling long enough.
I feel bad saying this because we have air conditioning finally after 3 days and 2 nights, I guess, without it. I'm still kind of hot.
Yeah, you just gotta cool down.
I'm also
housing a human.
Due to have a baby in 26 days.
It's just terrible timing. I mean, the whole time, it was just...
Well, the irony is that okay, so normally your power goes out. What do? You go to a public place where you can get air conditioning.
Can't do that.
And power up your devices.
Can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
There's in New Jersey, for people who don't know, it's basically just outdoor eating.
Yeah.
Some restaurants are letting 25% of people, but most truly are not. Pretty much everywhere is just an outdoor situation. So, we can't power up anything. Fortunately, I had a friend who let us use her business today to power up everything and to let you podcast and let us use the internet and cool down a little bit.
So, if you listen to episode 99, where I interview Sam Lyons, who is the man that did over $8,000 in Uber Eats. He earned $8,000 in the month of June.
That's so amazing.
So he came on my podcast, episode 99. Full disclosure, Jess and I are recording 100 right now. She has not heard the episode, so I don't want to put you on
I heard your part.
You heard my part, but here's the reason you heard my part. We were in this said business and internet was great. Now, I couldn't do the interview in the main area because it would have been so echoey for the interview that my part would have sounded atrocious. So I went into the bathroom of this business and recorded a podcast in a bathroom, which, too, if you think about it, is just so cool, like, that you can do stuff like that now, and you can adapt, and really just how podcasts are dominating, that as long as you have a microphone and a device to record it in, you got good service, right, for an interview. If it was a non-interview, I wouldn't even need the internet. I would just need to have my computer powered. You can create content literally anywhere.
If you want to, cool. You can do it.
Yes. Amazing. You just gotta so shout out to you and your friend for helping us out and hooking us up. But I can't believe we've done 100 episodes.
I know, I can't, this was hard I had to look through the list to come up with some of our superlatives because you kind of forget them after the fact.
Well, I'll explain that in a second. What Jess is referencing is we did some categories for the food reviews that we've done. Before we get to that, I just wanted to say, I just can't believe there's 100 episodes of Mike Delivers. I mean, I remember when we were episode 17, episode 26. It's 100 of these.
I'd like to know.
So if you were to come back to this podcast, if a first timer, you've got legit with this in the Patreon, you've got 130 episodes you can scroll through.
On Conan O'Brien's podcast, who needs no plugs, he doesn't know anything about technology, so they did a quiz with him, and they talked about how many podcasts are there, and it's something absurd, 800,000 or something like that. Yeah. And I think one of the questions was how many get to 100.
Ooh,
and
this I'm dying to know.
I don't remember.
Oh, what a tease!
So low,
really?
Yes, because people get the domain, they get all excited about it, and they just can't ever follow through with it.
Well, there's a couple things. One, the technical truth is because I've done some bonus interviews and some crossover episodes. Technically, it's 108, but this was the established episode 100.
The in-canon ones.
I didn't want to. I just wanted if I wanted to put bonus content out, it was bonus content, but I didn't want to get out of that schedule. But I'll tell you, what's fascinating is, and it's true, it's so difficult to gain a following, to gain people that are interested in your podcast, that people give up early on because, full disclosure, your downloads suck. Not many people listen to it. And you get all flustered I've done this for 3 months. I've done 16 episodes. Why am I not making money? Why am I not an established star? It takes a lot of time and effort. And I would say just even doing this for a year to build where I believe now, which I'm super proud of for both of our sakes, that Mike Delivers has sort of a little following, which is awesome, which makes me so happy. I couldn't be more humbled by it. But it takes a lot of effort to get you got to put in the work, and it's harder than people think to continue to do it when you see that nobody's listening. It can be demoralizing.
But the more episodes you get, the easier it is for people to find it, because that's the thing, is they find it through searches, they find it through guests.
Sure,
I find a lot of mine through people I like being guests on podcasts. I'll listen to them because they're a guest, and I'll be like, oh, I really like this podcast, and then I'll add that and subscribe to it. So it's a super slow roll.
It is. It's very slow.
And you never know how they'll find you either. You go on a podcast, they hear you, they come to yours. It's you just never know how people get to it. So you can't have one method that's this is how you will find it.
What was super helpful for me was when I went on Taz's podcast. Taz, if you don't know, is who I worked with at CBS Sports Radio. Former wrestler, now is doing stuff with TNT as a broadcaster. And when I went on his episode, because he gets a lot of listeners when he was doing it, that was so beneficial. That was so beneficial in this process.
Yeah. To
get into 100. So many people that I know enjoy this podcast heard me on there and then made their way over.
That's cool.
I know, which is really cool.
Yeah, because it's usually you usually have people on as guests, or you are a guest with similar sensibilities.
Yes.
So... No, that's exciting. You should be excited.
Hooray! Hooray!
I think it's always as good as too when you find a new podcast.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. There's 100 episodes. Instead of oh, there's 8.
Right.
And the last one was 4 months ago.
Can I trust this? It's been a while, but I said this, and I don't know how it will go when Ryan is born. Zach Gelb, don't listen to this podcast because you're not supposed to know the name of the kid. Did I tell you that?
No.
We want to do the thing on air where he tries to guess the name of our son.
Are you giving him clues?
No, he just thinks he's configured it out based on my love of the Nets.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it either, but I think it's funny. So, anyways, getting derailed there for a second. What was my thought? The point is, I think when you see somebody has that many episodes and then you find it, that's a good secure feeling in a blanket. Like, oh, okay, this is an established podcast. I'm not going here and there's like you said, 17 episodes. I may have disjointed my thought process here, which is fine, but I'm just kind of piggybacking on what you had to say.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because a couple of the podcasts that I listen to a lot of podcasts, definitely have gotten a little less consistent during quarantine time. That's what I was trying to say. Which makes me think like they might be kind of on the way out.
That's what I was trying to say was this podcast has started at one a week, and then whenever it was, mid-October, November, has done 2 episodes a week consistently. It has not stopped. So I guess what my point is, I wonder when we have our son, if that... we're going to put out the content. I'm going to do that. But I just got to get more creative in how I do it. Because I'm not saying... There might be like a week where it's like, oh shit, we got to do a podcast. We're coming to you live... that's right. I'm in my son's hellhole.
We might just have to like take a video week off of Patreon too. Yikes.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go along. But it's exciting stuff. So, all right, back to the ball game, as my old program director would say. Let's go to some categories from the food that we have tried over this last 6 to 7 months, which is crazy. So here are the categories. Most surprising on the good side, most surprising on the bad side. You would want to give it a second chance. I'm not sure if you came up with any of those. I did. Best thing you ate, worst thing you ate.
Okay. How are we starting? Are you going first?
We'll start. So most surprising, I came up with a couple.
Good or bad?
On the good side. And I'll start with this because I think it's a good way to kind of go back and forth. I was most surprised. This is a combo. For the way that I answer this, I'm going to say good and bad. I was most surprised with how good the fish sandwich was from Wendy's, and most surprised with how bad it was from McDonald's.
Interesting.
I was like, because when we went into, I don't remember what the gimmick was. I guess it was Fish Day.
It was like Lent, and we just tried the fishes.
So I was like, wow, like this is not bad. And then the McDonald's one, I was like, this is horrendous. Like this was a god awful joke. So I couldn't believe that. And McDonald's had the track record of being the more famous one because they've been doing it for a while. And I was like, if I had the option between these two, it's not even comparable. The Wendy's fish had a little crisp to it. It was like battered. It had a much better sauce with it. The bun was decent.
Good.
It was good. The McDonald's one was a nasty piece of squared fish that was barely fried up with a gross piece of American cheese, and the tartar sauce was glopped on there, and was disgusting. So my first surprise, the compare and contrast, just how good the one was from Wendy's and how bad it was from McDonald's. And I think having those at the same time really impacted how I felt about both of them.
So is that your entire answer?
I've got more, but I just wanted to start with that. What do you have?
Well, I have 3 good and 1 bad.
Let's hear the good.
Okay, so number 3, we go with the Papadilla from Papa John's.
On the good side?
Surprisingly good.
I thought that was surprisingly terrible.
No, but I liked it.
That dipping sauce in there just...
I'm talking about the Papadilla, not the dipping sauce.
Okay, all right. Okay, it's your opinion.
So that was number 3, surprisingly good. Number 2, the chicken and donut from KFC.
I remember that. Oh, yeah.
The chicken was great, and it kind of worked. Like, I would never order that, but I was like, it was a good bite. Yeah,
it was just so much disgustingness all together. Like you eat that thing and you just feel instantly terrible about yourself as a human being. I don't know how you could eat that and then just go, my life rocks.
Yeah, like I have my shit together.
Like, you know what? I'm successful.
We have a salad for dinner.
Like if I ate that chicken donut, I'd be like, I get it. Like I ate that. I ate a bite of that, and I was like, I hate myself.
No,
I am a terrible person.
It is not. It is low self-esteem food.
Oh, completely. Oh yeah, like that is like I'm at the bottom of my life. I've got to fucking consume this thing.
The quality of both of them was great.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Shout out to KFC.
All right, number one surprising, and we did kind of touch on this last week, the Holly Jolly pancakes and the churro pancakes.
Okay, I completely agree with that. I wrote down here just as
we
a
wrote these
surprise.
down and did not talk to each other, by the way.
I wrote down here as a surprise, and this is kind of like I said you couldn't do this, but I did it anyway. I thought IHOP on the whole has been a very pleasant surprise with their food.
100%. Every time we order something from there, I'm like, God damn it. And then I'm like, okay, this is delicious.
Like the Holly Jolly pancakes, the churro pancakes, and then last week, the chicken and waffles. The waffle was fine, but I was like, the chicken tenders are great.
They didn't even look good, and they were great.
That's
high praise.
I don't know if we've just tried so much bad food that maybe we've been tricked into thinking it's good. But I guess we had IHOP early on.
I got some bad stuff to say about things.
Yeah, I would say IHOP on the whole has been my pleasant surprise of restaurants.
Okay.
And then one more I want to add to there. I was surprised by just how good the Red Lobster pizza was. I thought that was surprisingly decent.
Yeah, that was really good. Okay.
All right.
My surprising bad?
Yeah.
We did not talk about this. I have two of them.
Yeah.
One is Joe's Crab Shack, which I know that is recent as well. And it was because I genuinely have been there for dinner, and it was good.
Yeah.
I do think maybe we had a bad day. I don't know what it was a Sunday in quarantine. People didn't give a shit about it. So the Joe's Crab Shack sampler that we tried was definitely really bad, but that was number two. Number one for me, surprising, and this is because of just the fact that it's just in the zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. It's the fish fillet. It's the same thing.
It was so bad.
I was like, how is this so popular and this fucking disgusting? That still blows my mind. Like, it literally boggles me that this is a thing not only caught on, sustained, and people are excited about it.
It's funny, you and I are on the same page. I wrote Joe's Crab Shack and the McDonald's fish, which I referenced already before. I still can't get over, and I've said this on numerous episodes, and I said this when we talked about it on our previous episode, was the fact that we had it with Wendy's. Did it magnify how bad it was because we had that with it? If we had that alone, I still would have thought it sucked. But I don't think I would have had the perspective of how bad it is because, I think people compare McDonald's and Wendy's. I think McDonald's overall is the more popular one and the one people probably go to more. But would you say that when people do the quality, Wendy's is usually slightly above McDonald's?
I think so, but this was a big difference.
And how about Wendy's, on a side note, for a place that I could say the fish sandwich from Wendy's was one of my favorite things we had, to some of the breakfast items being the worst, the full gamut of Wendy's. Like, we'll talk about the Baconator later.
Oh, yes.
And I gagged when I ate it, which says something about the Joe's Crab Shack. And then just like the fish, which I loved, which is just so crazy to see the full gamut of things on Wendy's.
I just can't comprehend how it caught on. It's that
because people don't know better. They just don't know better.
I know. I actually was listening to a podcast while I was taking my first shower of the weekend today, and it was someone coming from the West Coast who had never had seafood and was asking about what seafood is like. These podcast hosts, and I was like, "What?
What is seafood like?"
Yeah, and I think
it's like delicious.
Yes, but maybe that person's first taste is a fillet of fish, and then it's like
it would ruin you.
Ew, I hate fish. Yeah, because that is nothing like a $40 sea bass for sure. Like, that is like a different species.
I know. Well, you tell me this fish isn't even from real fish.
Yeah, I don't want
to go.
Yeah, we can't talk about farmed fish. It gets you spiraling.
Did you have a second chance food that you wanted to try?
Yes.
Okay, good, because you said you didn't before.
I didn't, and then it hit me.
All right. Well,
Something I was excited about, but it didn't deliver.
But you would give it a second chance. Is basically the
I think part of it maybe that I would order something different. Maybe like
okay.
What's yours?
I had 2 that I put down.
Okay.
The Panera Bread sandwich, which I thought was just clunky, and it was a turkey avocado club.
Yeah, the one that had like a whole like half a.
I just thought it wasn't prepared well because I've had Panera Bread a lot, and I like a lot of their food items. I thought the way it came out,
that was the B team.
It just wasn't great. I just thought it could have been a lot better and could have been organized better. I was disappointed in that, so I'd give that a try. And then the other one was the Arby's fries, and this was way back when in Pittsburgh.
Oh, we did that at my parents' house.
Yeah, and I know that it was.
They were really cold.
They were really cold, and I know fries don't travel well, so they know they wouldn't be good to begin with. But I just thought we'd get more out of that, and I was really disappointed with that. So Arby's is another one I'd like to give a redo.
Okay. Mine was, I was excited about this, and I was like, meh, we had it. Meh. Firehouse Subs.
That I was on my considering. I was mad about that, too. It just wasn't...
Well, I don't know if it's... The advertising's been off the chain lately. Like, they are on every commercial, and I'm like, oh, I love sandwiches. I like sandwiches more than you do. Pittsburgh's big on sandwiches, and...
Yeah.
And Long Island, and New Jersey, and they were pretty good in Virginia. So everywhere I've lived really liked a sandwich.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh, it was just... Yeah. Like, compared to, what was it, Jersey Mike's. I thought it would be a hair better than Jersey Mike's, and it was definitely... Like, Jersey Mike's blew it out of the water. This baby is moving, by the way, during this conversation.
When do you do?
September 3rd, 26 days?
26 days. I'm so excited for your podcast when you're delivering.
Oh,
I think, Mike delivers. If we don't do just delivering, what are we doing?
Well,
we're not committed to our fan base.
I told you when I woke up out of anesthesia one time, I did like a whole dialogue on how much I disliked Oprah. So God only knows when I'm a little drugged up what I'm going to say.
Oh, boy. Ugh. A lot of bleeps, a lot of edits. I think it's interesting that none of us brought up Taco Bell for anything.
I'm not done.
Oh, God. Okay,
we have other categories, don't we?
We have best and worst.
Yeah.
But I just assumed it couldn't be best or worst. You can't have Taco...
You assumed wrong.
You have best Taco Bell?
Or worst.
You don't have worst. You love the shit. You can't be... Okay, what is... Okay, what is...
Well, let's do our worst first.
Worst first? Yeah, I think worst... It's 2. And I'll explain it more when we get there. But this fucking Baconator breakfast thing was atrocious. And I know it just came into my mouth. Hey, it came in my mouth. What do you want? The sandwich.
I guess the Swiss cheese sauce kind of did.
But I know it's fresh and it's on top of mind. I thought it was horrendous. I'll do more details on that when we get to the Baconator. But the worst is the Joe's crab dip. Whenever you smell something and it smells like shit. Leon loved it.
Oh, he loved it. So we feed him. We get like an auto ship from Amazon of seafood medley fancy feast. That's what he eats. So there's a tuna, there's a salmon, and then there's like a mixed fish. He was here for that. It was exactly like
cute.
what he's used to.
I know.
And if he's ever, like, if we ever get like a onesie Tuesday, if I need like extra food, they do make fancy feast with cheddar cheese in it, and that was exactly what it reminded me of.
He was like, "Thanks, guys."
He was like, "Oh, it's a fancy night. It's like Christmas.
Fancy bowl tonight. Like things are good for me."
Actually, that was like weird, grosser. We actually feed the cat on regular plates, and that was a paper plate.
That's fair. So that means your favorite thing was Taco Bell.
I didn't say what my worst thing was.
Oh,
did I?
Oh, no, you didn't. I jumped the gun.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm like, did I?
I'm just really like, okay, so what's your...
Guys, we had a rough weekend.
Yeah, episode 100, where the host is fucking scattered. Download. Give it a 2 stars. Give it a star. I'm a shining star. All right, go ahead. Now I'm
the Sloppy Joe sliders.
Yeah, those were bad. But I think after trying that Baconator, that Sloppy Joe slider can like... No, because
there was no part of that Sloppy Joe slider that was quality, and I think there were lots of good parts of that Wendy's thing. For me, really, really good actually, and then some really, really horrible. So,
and to refresh people, the Sloppy Joe slider also, which was such a fun delivery.
From White Castle.
But it was delivered like so far away. I wish I could have met that driver who'd been like,
it was $1 and like 79.
This is pre-pandemic.
Yes, this was before Christmas, I think.
Yeah. who was like, I'm picking up a $2, although it came with fries and a drink.
Yeah, we ordered the meal, but it still ended up being like $2.50.
If I was the Uber Eats driver and I was like, I'm picking up a $4 fucking value meal from White Castle, I'd be like, this guy is fucking stoned out of his mind.
It was a single slider instead of like a tray of
like at that point you're like, get more.
No, it was...
I'm coming to you from fucking Newark.
It was so gross.
That was bad.
It was so gross. It was like, it looked like wet dog food with a piece of American cheese just like lightly laid on top of it.
So what we're learning is the things that come in last look like they're for animals.
Yes.
Cat or dog.
Yeah, pet food is not for us.
Pet food is not for us, but it is for the pet. So that means the best thing you ate was Taco Bell.
No, I have 3 best things I ate.
Oh my god, you are a best. I have 1.
Okay, go.
The best thing I ate, and I will consume it this way.
I really don't know.
I would get this. I had stuff. I mean, I know I gave some stuff like 10s in the past, and like the heat factor. What did we give recently where the heat factor was a 10? I was like, oh, the Popeye shrimp.
Popeye shrimp? There are too many of them that freak me out.
This was my favorite. The ice machine just...
Look, everything is just kind of turning back on here, people.
Just was like, oh yeah, I'm out, baby. The best thing I ate / I would order this, legit want to get it, was the roast beef from Jersey Mike's. And I know I didn't...
never seen it. Our entire relationship... You have not been a sandwich guy.
I'm getting more.
You're becoming a sandwich guy.
Yeah, my waist knows it. I just thought it had the flavor profiles I liked. There was no heat factor involved, really. You didn't have to worry about it. It was not mayonnaise based. It just had all the things I like, and I ate that and was like, "This is good. I'm happy with this."
Yeah, it was really good.
I would say a close consideration after that was just all the pancakes from IHOP. Like those were delicious. Those were fantastic. I thought the sauces, another worst real quick, I thought the sauces from Papa John's and Pizza Hut horrendous.
Every chain marinara sauce has truly been... I mean, because we're not... I'm not including those... That's not like the real review.
No, but they've
But
just
I
been
will
bad.
say that every single sauce has made whatever it was with exponentially worse.
So bad.
Like, one thing that actually was surprisingly not that bad was that it was the last thing we had right before everybody locked down. It was it Pizza Hut?
Yes.
With the, like, cheesy bread crust.
Yep.
That was fine. You dipped it in that sauce, it was like death.
Yeah, it was so bad. Ugh.
Alright, so my bests. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, so I have 3. My number 3 was the Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell.
I don't know you. No, I do know you. I'm joking. Okay.
Number 2 was the Popeye's chicken sandwich.
That was good. That was really good.
Like, it was exactly as good as I thought it would be, which was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. I would say that was probably number 2. That was number 2 to the roast beef.
It's just
sandwich.
something that's like heavy that I'm not gonna order. Yeah. Like, honestly, but the number 1 thing that I'm going to order, have ordered, and will order again is the Bang Bang shrimp.
The Bang Bang shrimp were really good. Those were excellent. Those were really good.
Yeah. That's just something I would legit order.
They also came a week after Joe's Crab Shack.
Yes.
So it changed the priorities. Here's a food that just, like, almost... I feel like this one food gets lost in the scheme of these reviews.
Okay.
Like, it didn't even happen. The ribs from Boston Market.
Oh, I thought about those.
They don't even get talked about.
You were a little too...
I like those. Those were good for me.
Yeah, but we were a little... Well, I'm pickier with meat than you are, so...
We should do a Boston Market month.
I'd do that.
I just love that. Popeyes.
You just want to eat rotisserie chicken all day long.
Oh, all day long, baby. But that was fun. That was a good kind of... You know, you can go back in the catalogs. You know, obviously we talked about a lot of stuff here, so... If you just go back and you were like, oh, what are they talking about? You'll see them in there. Listen to previous episodes and you can get information as we lead up to or as we are here, we led up to number 100 and everything with it. So Breakfast Month continues. Last week on Breakfast Month, we had chicken and waffles from the IHOP. This week, and a little backstory to how we got here. So for the Patreon page, like I referenced, you can give recommendations on foods for me for blind food taste tests. And a great listener to the podcast, Eddie Gonzalez, he had the idea of the Pringles Baconator. So we thought for breakfast month, why don't we try the Baconator? So there's the the lunch and dinner Baconator, your traditional Baconator. Try saying Baconator 10 times in a row. It's not easy.
I have been trying to look for Baconator chips for like 6 weeks.
So if you want to go to Patreon and want to see me do a blind food taste test of the Baconator Pringles chips, you can find it there.
We're really close to.
But it spun the idea of, well, they've got a breakfast version of it. Let's see how that tastes. I'll say I like the chips a lot more. Try saying Baconator 10 times in a row.
No.
Go for it.
No.
Baconator,
No.
Baconator. It's hard. Okay, so I screwed that up before, but it's difficult.
Have you had a regular Baconator before?
I have not.
I haven't either.
But I'm never going to after having the breakfast one.
Well, I don't know if it's like the breakfast sandwich.
I just assumed it was. The only difference I would think would be instead of sausage, you have...
Well, there was an egg bacon...
Oh, that's true.
Okay, hold on. Let's read the description. Let's read the description of each of them. And we can go from there. So, This is a limited time Pringles item. And Pringles, by the way, if you have not been paying attention, which clearly I haven't, but
I have a million
now
flavors.
I am, they are off the chain with those, like, flavors.
Crazy.
It's like Lay's. Well, we saw a bunch of Lay's that have crazy flavors too. They had like New York pizza, and Nashville fried chicken. I think there's way more with Pringles, but I feel like they don't shove it in your face as much. Like I had no idea.
No, they probably started doing it to catch up to all those. Would be my guess, right?
I guess so. But yeah, I just like you'd have to be really shopping for Pringles to run into them. I haven't seen any commercials. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Pringle has such a cult following of people that love Pringles that they probably know about it. You and I aren't in the Pringle game, so
apparently
we probably
not.
didn't know. But I'm sure if you were like a Pringle
You know
lover,
who is in the Pringle game? Our niece. She is in it.
She likes Pringles?
She's a plain girl, but, we might be able to convert her to some, spicy jalapeno.
She's also not even 2, so she's doing okay.
It's like her favorite food, though, which is kind of weird.
Oh, that's cute.
Wow, this is aggressive. Do you know how many calories a Baconator is?
1,600.
920, but...
Oh, it's not bad.
But I do have to say, it's not that similar to what we had for breakfast.
So it's very different?
So...
That's funny.
It's a half pound of fresh beef.
This is the dinner one.
Yes.
Your traditional Baconator.
Yes.
You could have it for lunch.
American cheese, 6 pieces of Applewood smoked bacon, ketchup, and mayo. So it really isn't that similar at all.
No, not at all. The breakfast Baconator is very different.
And I do
that one I would like not much better, but more.
I do have to say that the irony is, with having no power, we had to throw out every morsel in our freezer and fridge.
Which sucked.
Because when we turned it back on, our fridge was at 78 degrees, which, by the way, is not healthy.
No.
We threw it out beforehand, so it didn't get too gross. We had to get breakfast takeout. We never do that.
Breakfast, never.
Never. So we got Starbucks.
The only time we do breakfast takeout is if we have guests.
Yeah, exactly. We got Starbucks breakfast yesterday.
Which was good.
Told them what exciting meal you ordered.
I got a sausage, cheese and egg, what are those things?
Biscuit?
No, it wasn't a biscuit. It was like an English muffin.
English muffin?
But I didn't get the cheese and egg on it. So it was an English muffin with sausage.
Yeah, so it was a dry sandwich.
But that was so fatty, it doesn't matter. It's good. I like it dry. I think people that like their food wet are sick.
I had the...
Sickos, I tell ya.
Spinach feta egg white wrap, which is my absolute favorite thing, at Starbucks. And then this morning, we went to a local bagel place.
And that was good. I had it with whitefish.
Yes.
And you had it with blueberry mayonnaise.
Cream cheese.
Same difference.
Yes. And I got them at 11 o'clock. We were not hungry. It was just too hot to eat.
We've been eating so much takeout with the power out because we couldn't cook or make anything. That every meal is takeout. And the night before, it was just fuck it. It's late. It's hot. We're going nuts. It was
we were not hungry.
Chicken wings, tacos. I mean, basically, it was a food erection for me. But at some point, that erection goes down, and you gotta be ugh. I gotta eat something a little better for me.
Yeah, but so we kind of made it a brunch, but we did bagels, which were great. We'll talk about the bagel game on Patreon.
Yep, we'll do that.
All right, so then here's the breakfast Baconator.
Which is much different.
6 strips of applewood smoked bacon, freshly cracked fried egg, sausage patty, American cheese, and Swiss cheese sauce on a bun.
And you did not like that Swiss cheese sauce on a bun.
No, I did not.
You hated it.
No, I did hate it.
Okay, can I talk about... So let's get into this food. I went to pick it up. And this was just, to me, fascinating because when I got to the Wendy's, it was about 8:30, 8:40. There was nobody there. I mean, it was completely done. Like, I probably was one of the few people
Are
that
they
got
24
there.
hours? Or
I don't
what time
think
do
so.
they open?
No, they're not 24 hours.
I don't think I've ever gotten fast food breakfast.
So what intrigues me is if nobody's going and they're not pumping things out, are they making that fresh to order? Like, is that fresh to order, or is that something that's been sitting there and they just throw all the components together? Or is somebody in the back cracking an egg and building
For sure
it?
that egg was fresh. I will guarantee that.
So there's somebody at Wendy's making fresh eggs? That seems fucking ridiculous.
The rest of it probably was ready to rock and roll, I would
Like,
think.
the sausages are done. They probably have a set amount.
All right,
the cheese they plop on there. But you think they're cracking eggs?
Opens at 6:30.
Okay, so you think somebody's in there cracking eggs?
I do.
I don't think so.
I do.
Really?
I
think they have a certain amount. They just have them, and if they don't get sold, they chuck them.
I think that is part of their thing, is that's what sets them apart, is they do fresh eggs. They don't do, like, the egg patties.
Now, I hate eggs. So when I bit into it, it all just tastes like a big, giant dildo. Did you think that was a good egg?
It was a great egg, yes.
So that was a good egg?
Yeah.
So then I guess maybe it was
fresh.
fresh?
I know. That was a fresh egg. I've had more fried eggs than you.
So that was a good... You would say, like, if you had to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the egg, you would go up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, I can give you my feelings on the ingredients.
Yeah.
I thought the egg was great. The bacon was great. I don't love pork sausage. I actually prefer chicken sausage, but it was good pork sausage.
Yeah.
And then the American cheese and the Swiss cheese sauce were both terrible.
Well, how could American cheese, to somebody that doesn't mind cheese, be so bad?
It's not real cheese. It's like cheese product.
You could taste it in there? You could taste that?
No, I just don't like American cheese.
Why do people love American cheese, then? What is the attraction to it?
It melts. Like, it's like, people like gooey stuff. It's like the gooeyest cheese.
But it's not... So is it not from a cow?
No, it's like...
I know
it's like
so
cheese
stupid.
substance. It's not cheese. It's like Velveeta, not really cheese.
Then what is it?
It's like dairy. There's dairy. There's like polymers. There's lots of different components that are being all put together.
So people are really eating polymers. So when they say
okay.
I want to have my Baconator, can I please have some polymers?
So hold on.
What the fuck is a polymer?
Let's back up on cheese in general. I could eat cheese, good cheese, and like crackers or cheese board every night for dinner. I fucking love cheese. I like blue cheese. I like soft cheese. I mostly like hard cheese, to be honest. I like
you would, you sicko.
I like a hard cheese. I like all cheese. Basically, I mean, really, the weirdest shit. I will eat it, except Swiss cheese and American cheese, which was on there. So Swiss cheese to me has a tang that is just
you don't like.
Not for me. I mean, if it's like a $24 Swiss, you get like a Whole Foods. Yeah, maybe I like that. But like a slice of Swiss cheese on a sandwich to me is no. I just do not like.
Well, then let me ask you this: how do you make cheese that's Swiss cheese? Like, what does that even mean?
So there's like bacteria that make like holes in it. That's why it has holes.
And how is this a thing that people like? That's why I don't understand cheese.
You don't understand cheese.
I don't get it. Like, I'm gonna eat. I like something that has bacteria on it that made holes.
But like okay. How do you feel about buffalo mozzarella?
I think that's good.
You love buffalo mozzarella.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different. I sound like Russell Wilson.
No, I just don't like Swiss cheese, and I don't like American cheese either. The American cheese was not offensive on this, but the fact that the Swiss cheese was made into a sauce, it was like a fondue kind of thing. Ugh. It was really all up in there.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, that made me feel better because when I bit it, and you can see on social media, Mike Delivers Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, I really had a hard time. I had to use the Frosticino to get it down my Mikey Enos.
I was afraid we were going to see a reprise of yesterday.
Yeah, Vomit Jones.
Yeah.
Not for me.
No, we got out of our car at the Jersey Shore and a woman just vomited behind my car.
Which it's funny because, let's talk about this for a second as we veer off the turnpike. If you said, oh yeah, you were at the Jersey Shore and you got out of your car and you saw a woman vomit, people listening to this are going to be like, oh, that just sounds like something you would see at the Jersey Shore.
No.
But
No.
if you actually saw what was like, where we were and how old the woman was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, oh, we got off at the Jersey Shore and we saw a woman puking. You're like, yeah, big deal. It's fucking New Jersey Shore. That's all people do.
Yeah, no, we were
But
not.
we were in an area called Spring Lake where the mansions were between $3 and $6 million. That's how much the houses cost. Right by the water. It was not the Jersey Shore that you're thinking of like Snooki.
No, this was like if the Hamptons got fancier. Like, that's what it kind of reminded me.
It was so beautiful.
It was very nice. But yeah, and this woman was definitely older than, like, our parents. So the whole thing was curious. But yeah, I was like, oh no, not again. It was just very weird. We got out of the car and I was like, what's that noise? You're like, don't look.
Don't look. What's that noise? It's just two birds.
A 65-year-old woman barfing right by your trunk.
You know, like, this is going to be a good
Yeah,
trip.
it was a great way to kick off your day. And it ended up being a great day.
It did, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, that was a little scary. But
no, but you did gag on that. No, it was... I think when you turn the cheese into a sauce, it just infiltrates everything. It's different than when there's one single piece melted.
Yeah.
It kind of like stays where it's supposed to be. I just don't like Swiss cheese. Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't know that about you. I didn't know you didn't like Swiss cheese. I mean, I know a lot about you because we've been married for...
How long, Mike?
Oh, jeez. At least 8. Maybe more. 8+ years.
That's actually correct.
So I know most things about you. So I guess I just don't know as much about your cheese thoughts because...
We don't ever eat it together?
I don't talk about... Right, because I don't like most of it. So I'm not going to be like... Oh, Jessica, did you like this fondue? I'm not going there. So, but what I'm trying to get at was, this was news to me that you and the Swiss, you're anti-Swiss.
It's kind of like not a...
You don't like Swiss chocolates either? Are you against the Swiss?
No. Just the cheese.
Just the cheese.
Just the cheese. It's just a tang to it that I don't like. I don't know what it is. I really appreciate like all other cheeses. Like, the stinkier the better. But I think it's actually very similar to American cheese, where it's kind of like mass-produced cheese. It's not fancy cheese. Like, it's not. It's the kind of stuff you get on, like, a ham and cheese sandwich.
Ugh.
Like, and that's... So, if you ever do a luncheon, you have to, like, choose your entree. I'm always like, which one is Swiss? I don't want that one, Yeah. Oh. So, yes, you learned something new about
you.
My feeling about Swiss cheese
So,
today.
when you're done with labor and you've got our son and you're ready for your first meal... Don't get you the Swiss on Swiss sandwich.
No Swiss.
Avoid the Swiss.
No.
I will not do that.
No American cheese either.
Okay, so you think that the meal was done, egg was cracked, everything was done properly, prepared right there. That was interesting to me. Other than that, with the pickup, there was nothing really exciting about it to mention. Drove through, got it, drove back.
We did try the Frosticino as well.
And the only thing about the Frosticino that was stressful was pre-Frosticino, I went to Dunkin' Donuts. So normally you and I, Jess, will make coffee in the morning. You'll make it, I'll drink it. And we don't go... I mean, honestly, since this pandemic, we just don't buy coffee.
I have not gotten coffee since the day before I got coronavirus.
We've always been people to make it in the house. But with no power... And when we're addicted to it, because it helps me poop, we need the coffee. Like, that's just a non-negotiable. Like, I don't care if there's anything else that goes in the day. We're starting with that. So I picked up 2 coffees for us at Dunkin', and then moseyed on over to the Wendy's. Really, I'm just feeling like a real American.
And I was exercising.
So Dunkin' Donuts to Wendy's, I only had 2 cup holders. So I'm like, oh God, what the fuck do I do?
What about the side door?
The one on the side is so narrow that when you put a drink in it, it pops it open that the lid would go up. So I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do with all these drinks? It sounds like a story from the road now. So I had 3 drinks, a hot coffee, your iced coffee, and this Frosticino. So I could not get my coffee, and your coffee would bust. So I was like, if this fucking Frosticino doesn't fit in this thing, I'm going to have to be driving with the Frosticino. Luckily, it fit in there, but I was a little stressed about that. And then the other thing that was funny was once I parked the car, because the way it works in our house is we have we live in a condominium area, and there's extra parking in the back because our garage is a gym. Then we have a little sliver driveway, which has your car in it. And then we have my wife's 2017 Toyota RAV4, which we park in the back. So I have to walk past,
You make me sound
homes.
Terrible now.
No, I don't.
We put the 2020 in the driveway, all
yes,
right?
we
That's
do.
what it is.
That's the gimmick. It's my
Okay.
wife's car. I got to say it like that. I don't make you sound terrible. Stop it. Don't make me feel guilty. The point of the story is, because we didn't have power, like, all these people were out. So I'm walking back, and I'm holding a Dunkin' Donuts and a Wendy's. I'm like, boy, these people, the judgment. So I talked to this one of our neighbors, and he's a really nice guy. And he's like, oh, you got Dunkin' Donuts? And I'm like, and Wendy's. I was like, oh my God, I really
everyone was just like sitting in their cars charging all their devices like all weekend, basically.
I'm like, wow, I've really become that guy who just went to Dunkin' Donuts and Wendy's.
No,
all before 9 in the morning.
But I think this is the one weekend that people would accept it. We had not had power for like, I don't know, 60 plus hours at that point. You should not be eating the food in your house.
Understood, but I could have gone to any. It was just funny to see me coming back with those two places, like taking the walk of shame.
The breakfast walk of shame.
The breakfast walk of shame. All right, this is how it works in the Mike Delivers podcast. You get 3 different rating systems. Here they are. You ready, Jess?
I'm ready.
You know them. You know them well. You establish them. They're from 0 to 10. 10 the best, 0 the worst. They're in 0.5 increments. They are a rating system with my wife's 2017 Toyota RAV4. It used to be an 07 RAV4, but I totaled it. You want to hear the story? Head on over to the Mike Delivers Patreon page, and you can hear the story of how I crashed the car and really got 2020 off to a great start.
And it just kept going from there.
Okay, here are the 3 categories. We have taste, which we've hinted on a little bit. We have heat factor. And we have takeout presentation. And let me tell you something, Jess. This Wendy's Baconator really did a terrible fucking job. First off, we'll start with takeout presentation. The fucking thing said chicken on it. Okay?
That was confusing.
So it's in a wrapper. Your typical Wendy's wrapper, silver wrapper with little red stuff. And I like their logo. I think it's cool. Wendy seems like a nice lady. She seems like she's got her shit together. I got a little stressed out when it said chicken. And because I'm notorious for going to pick up the food and fucking up the order. So I saw that the wrapping said chicken, and I said, you know what? I fucked it up again. Because last time I went to Wendy's, I got the wrong thing. I got the wrong order.
What'd you get?
Remember I had to go get something at Wendy's and a breakfast sandwich, and I got the wrong thing? This is months ago.
Oh, no, I don't really remember that.
Good, because you weren't happy. I'm glad you forgot. So I was just like, I got the wrong thing again. I can't believe it. Turns out I did not. It was just the chicken wrapper with the Baconator. So that kind of deterred me a little bit. And, now that I've done 100 episodes of these, and I'm really one of the more established food podcasters in the game.
Obviously,
thank you. You had to interject for my bullshit. It was just boring. I mean, it was fine. It was just boring. But my big critique here would be it said chicken, and it fucking wasn't chicken. So takeout presentation, I'm going with a 5.
Okay, so yesterday we went to Starbucks. The woman kept trying to give me different people's orders. Like, literally handed me Paolo's order and said, your drinks will be there in a minute.
We didn't get drinks, and you're not Paolo.
We didn't get drinks. We'd already got Dunkin' Donuts. And there's one really close to our house. And I'm not Paolo.
No.
And
I'm sure he's a great guy. Download the podcast and give 5 stars, Paolo. So
I was nervous when it came out and said chicken. I mean, it was wrapped lovely, but the
receipt said Baconator.
Yeah, but it did say a chicken sandwich. Like, part
of me was like, oh, thank God.
I like their logos, though, and it was wrapped nicely, but that was really confusing. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
6.5 for takeout presentation.
Well,
okay.
I liked and I'm just adding, maybe this gives it an extra half point, because that's 6.5. I thought the Frosted-chino cup was cute.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the Frosted-chino. That was cute. I will say, when I saw her making the Frosted-chino, and you can't see what I'm doing. I have a drink in my hand. She picked it up and
You're swirling it?
She swirled it. So that was kind of cool by her.
Well,
the service there was great.
The service is always great there.
The Wendy service was
excellent.
fantastic.
That one was really good. I will say that I read some reviews about this Frosted-chino. And apparently, originally, it was supposed to be like a layered drink, and it got kind of gloppy. So that's why they're swirling it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because I think what they were doing is they were putting like the frosty in there, and then just iced coffee, and they were just like a black and tan kind of drink.
And it was just it wasn't distributed.
And
properly.
it would be like bitter coffee, blow your head off sweet. It was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. that helps today. Let's put it that way. All right, heat factor. The Frosted-chino was perfect. That was a perfect 10.
It was.
Could not have been better. It was where it needed to be.
I even
took
took
an ice drink.
I took some ice cubes out of it for my Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Even.
Now, the Baconator, I don't know what the heat factor was like, because when I put it in my mouth, all I wanted to do was end everything. So I don't even know what to tell you, because I hated this thing so much. I don't even know where the heat factor would be. I couldn't jump into the sandwich. It must have been hot, because I just don't remember. I have no point of reference to even say what happened. I put it in my mouth and just wanted the day to be over. So heat factor, I'll give it an 8, because it must have been fine. Like, I'm just gonna guess. I just don't even know. I have no idea.
You are such a wuss.
How am I a wuss?
It's a sandwich.
I don't fucking like that shit, man. Don't fucking call me a wuss. This thing sucked.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. It was super fresh, and the cheese sauce was very hot and very melty.
See, that's what I'm saying. It must have been so hot that I really got all the flavors.
Yeah. It was really hot.
Yeah. Too hot to handle.
But the bun wasn't. That was the only thing that wasn't.
Well, the buns were probably just sitting there cold. I mean, obviously they've got the chef back there cracking the eggs, putting that together. I had to wait a couple minutes. So it must have been like...
telling you, the egg.
The egg, you're right.
That's like their whole gimmick, too.
Yeah. All right, taste.
Because, like McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts, and Starbucks, you get like a little circular egg patty, like it's like from a kid's play set.
Yes. Okay, so taste. Now, would you say the Baconator was supposed to be the star of the show? And then
Yeah.
And then the Frosted-chino was
the Frosted-chino was just like a...
like on the set, like it's my side.
It's your sidekick.
It's like, this is my side chick.
Yeah.
My side ainer. Said Baconator. That doesn't make sense.
Side drink.
Okay, so that'll impact my score. Okay, so Baconator-wise, I hated it. I don't like eggs. I don't like cheese. Apparently I don't like Swiss cheese either, and I don't like cheese sauce. I bit into it, and at first I was like, this is bad. Then I was like, this has hope when I tasted the sausage. And then I tasted some of that cheese sauce, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I had to have the Frosted-chino, which again, you can see all this on the Mike Delivers Pod social media pages. I had to use the Frosted-chino to get it down. I despised it so much. And I know people listening to this are like, you don't like eggs, it's not fair. Well, you know what? That's true. It isn't fair. But you know what? Get your own food review podcast if you like eggs, and you can make your own fucking decisions. So I give the taste on that a 2. I give the taste on the Frosted-chino, which every time I say out loud, I want to say Frappuccino, and I have to stop myself from going, Frosted-chino. That was good. That was an 8. It was sweet, not too sweet, good flavor, tasted like a Frosty, had a little caffeine to it. If that thing wasn't a calorie bomb, I'd get it all the time. So combine the fact, 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. But the Baconator could suck a dick, Jess. Going down to a 3.5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just don't like... I don't get in general people that are like, give me a Beck, give me a Sec, bacon, egg, and cheese, sausage, egg, and cheese. I'm like, you are just boring Americans. Sorry, I know there's a lot of people that love that. Including like your brother.
Including like we were walking past people at a breakfast place yesterday, and literally every single person had some form of eggs on their plate.
I guess people like bacon, egg, and cheeses or sausage, egg, and cheese. It must be a fad.
I am not a big bacon, egg, and cheese person unless I am hungover. That is the only time I'm getting that because I feel disgusting if I eat it normally.
What is it about that kind of food that people like when they're hungover?
Yeah, the grease just like settles your stomach.
Gotcha.
And like weighs it down a little bit. Yeah, that's I don't think I've ever had one after like a great night of sleep and like got up and had a bacon, egg, and cheese ever, literally.
Literally.
I loved the Dunkachino. Is that even a thing? I'm making that up. Frosticino.
It probably is.
I loved the Frosticino.
Do it next week.
It was great, which is so weird because I hate sweet coffee normally.
Yeah, that's right.
It was so tasty though. I like my coffee just like with some cream, no sugar, absolutely no sugar. That was delicious. But, so I will say this. If I had customized the Baconator, but I feel like you just gotta have it as is to try it. Because it's like the Baconator. It's not like we're going to a sandwich place where we like make our own sandwich. It's like, this is what we want you to have.
Yeah.
I personally thought, and this is me, the bacon and the 6 pieces of bacon and sausage was like a lot on a sandwich. I would have gone one or the other.
Okay.
I understand this is not the Baconator. I'm saying my preference on it. But the quality was excellent on all of those parts.
Yeah, the meats were good.
The sauce part was awful. Like, I don't think you need 2 competing cheeses either. It doesn't make sense.
I like your take on that. You don't need 2 competing cheeses. We got cheese A, cheese B. They're going for the goal.
Think about it like a Big Mac. It's like if you have 2 of it, you have like the same cheese. That's weird to have.
I trust your opinion. I trust your cheese opinion. They might be cheesy, but I trust them.
I didn't love the bun.
Oh, the bun! I saw that sandwich and I was just like,
It did make me think of breakfast. It looked like a hamburger bun.
It was. That's a good point. They didn't have anything unique in the bun. Like, what would you have wanted to make it a unique
croissant,
bun?
Biscuit, bagel, something like that, like a breakfasty thing.
So you're saying you can't have
or brioche?
You can't have a regular bun for breakfast?
I'm not from Long Island.
Okay. Is that a Long Island thing?
Oh yeah, they love a buttered roll for breakfast. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, that's a good point though about the bun.
It was a huge thing on like the ferry. Get a buttered roll.
That's a good point about the bun. It was like your typical Wendy's bun.
Yeah, no, it was like I ordered a junior bacon cheeseburger.
Right, I didn't do a good enough job describing it because I was just so eked out by all this shit that was inside the buns.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's just you just didn't think it had the right.
It was just a hamburger bun. It was
just a hamburger bun.
Yeah, so. I'm going to give it a 5.5. For the Frosticino, doing what it does, I'm just giving them separate scores.
Okay.
I give it an 8.5. It did what it needed to do.
It did what it needed to do.
But
it did the job.
Yeah, I think, like, if I could get the egg, maybe an egg and bacon on, like, a croissant or a biscuit, I'd be into that.
I know you said the worst thing you had was the crab dip from Joe's Crab. But, if you had to pick one bite, which one would you prefer to not have? The crab dip or a bite into that burger?
Crab dip.
That was even worse.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
Because of the smell?
Oh, the whole thing. The look, the smell. Oh, it was disgusting, yes. No, this had redeeming components. Like the egg, the bacon, and the sausage were all very good. There was too much happening with this. For breakfast? Oh my God.
It was like you had an NBA roster and a starting 5, and then me and you were on the team. Like, they got other good players, but what the fuck is Jess doing on the court?
It was just too much happening.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so there's our scores for the Baconator and the Frosticino from Wendy's. Don't forget, if you'd like to give a suggestion for breakfast month, feel free to email me, MikeDeliversPod@gmail.com. Or you can DM me, Mike Delivers Pod, on all the platforms. Give us some suggestions. We're open to them. And like I said, go to Mike Delivers on Patreon. You can give suggestions to Jesse on which foods I should blindly taste.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I will find them if I can.
I am a hit or miss on that. I'm pretty good on that.
No, you're really good. You nailed it today.
I nailed it. I did nail it.
That was a weird one, too. I was like, I don't think you've ever had one of these.
I had not. I got the name of it right, too, which is remarkable.
I know. I was like, how do you know what this is? You've never had it.
I'll give a shout-out to Jose Arellano, who had the suggestion of it.
Yes.
Jose, you can hear that, or you can see that, rather, on the Mike Delivers Patreon page. Okay, Jesse, we'll do a Yum or Yuck on our Patreon page, where we'll find an item on a menu, and I'll Yum or Yuck it. That's on Patreon. But for this, the best thing you ate this past week was, and you had a lot.
I don't even, remember what happened before the power went out.
Before the power went out, Monday was peas, salads. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was gobble meals. Friday was...
Ooh, I did make good enchiladas.
Friday was peas. No,
Cafe Giotto.
Cafe Giotto, salads with chicken.
That was mine.
Saturday was a lot of shit.
No, the best bite I had was my Cafe Giotto chicken Caesar salad.
I normally would go with you on that, and I loved it. But I'm going to go with the Egan's boneless chicken wings.
That's up there for me, too.
Those were so fatty and fried and so fucking
I'm
good.
just glad you went on the boneless chicken wing train with me. I love boneless chicken wings. They're just hard to find.
Well, also the thing with the boneless wings from this place,
get a lot of meat.
They were huge. We did the boneless wings from, I want to say Applebee's.
Yeah, it was like an Applebee's Fridays. Yeah,
they were fine, but I think when we ordered these last night, I was expecting those little, basically little. They look like little Swedish meatball sizes, like little baby testes.
But it was very dark in here. I don't really know what we were eating.
Big, man. These were big. So that was a pleasant surprise. Yes, very romantic.
Yes, lots of smelly candles.
So there you have it. Baconator, a little review as well. Episode 100. And they're keeping coming. The podcast, that is. And they're coming in my mouth, as I referenced earlier on in this episode. Shout out to the O'Brien Creative Group. Shout out to my wife, Jess, who's doing a great job, I should say. You're pregnant. You're not petrified. You're doing awesome.
That's an inside show.
So thank you, everybody, for downloading this podcast. Thank you. Please share, spread the word. And if you heard earlier in the episode, when we're talking about all the different foods that we tried, go back. You'll see them. See what you like. Listen to them again. And don't forget, you can always let us know which foods we should try, what you think about these foods. I love hearing from you. It's great stuff. So thank you again to everybody. Jess, looking forward to not trying the Baconator next week.
I know, we got to figure out something for next week.
We do, but you know what's cool? We've got a week to figure it out. So Jess, episode 100, I'll see you for 102. Or I'll see you after I hit stop. I'm still not good at ending these. We need an ending.
I don't think anyone is.
Okay, bye. This is a podcast. I hope you liked it. All right, Jess, I'll talk to you later.